And action!
What's up, guys? Welcome to Movie Talk. I am Joe Zapata, and this episode is brought to you by Ace Sunglasses. Go to acesunglasses.com/AU and get 30% off selected brands. Ace Sunglasses is the shades of true champions. All right, we got a great show for you today. We got a bunch of trailers that dropped, but let's introduce the team first. I got my man, Dave DC Caleri. What's up, Dave?
Thank you for watching Movie Talk.
And we got the screenwriter, Rob Alvarenga. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing good. Better that I heard that voice now. That's awesome.
All
Back
right,
in the day, baby. That's the only way you can find out what time movies were playing.
Hell yeah.
That was it, man. That was back in the day. Movie Talk. Just listen on the phone when you can go, you know?
Mom, shut up. I can't hear the times.
People don't realize how lucky they are today. You go get your own seats, you know, and everything. I remember waiting online for Return of the Jedi, like in Paramus, New Jersey, right on Route 4 there. I was waiting for an hour online, just hanging out. It's totally different times. You know?
Yeah, good old times.
Yeah, good old times.
Will you see Revenge of the Sith in the theater again when it drops in a couple weeks?
You know what? Maybe I will. I'm not sure. What about you? You go see it?
I don't think so, but I heard on another podcast like this that it's looking like it's going to make about 25 million in this opening weekend.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's a Star Wars. Anything Star Wars, especially now that we're several years away from those movies. You actually have people old enough that think that's nostalgic. So and they want to relive what would have been their first time seeing a Star Wars movie on opening night.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see. If you guys noticed, I got my wax on Mr. Miyagi shirt on.
Yes.
So that's going to lead us to our first thing. So back in 1984, The Karate Kid dropped. And it was one of my favorite movies. I love The Karate Kid. But then slowly, they had the Cobra Kai series come out, which was, my kids love that series actually. And it brought back the whole Karate Kid thing. They did a remake of it with Will Smith. His kid, Willow, whatever his name was, I forget who his name. Jaden, right? Jaden Smith did it.
Yeah.
Then this trailer, Karate Kid Legends, came with the crossover between Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. And I've liked the Karate Kid, and their karate was always very clunky to me. But when I saw this trailer, it looked like Tony Jaa. Like they were like flipping and jumping and kicking, like really great trailer. There's not a lot of publicity behind it. I haven't seen it. It's dropping actually end of this month, actually, believe it or not. Dave, I want to start with you. What do you think about this trailer? Do you like it? Are you interested in seeing it?
I think it looks pretty good. If they do it right, I think it's definitely. I don't know when they decided to do this, because when Cobra Kai first hit on Netflix, I think it was really, really popular. I caught on, I think maybe 2 or 3 seasons had already been out. But I started watching it. I really liked it, even though it gets a little ridiculous at times. I think it was a nice way to bring the Karate Kid back in the zeitgeist. So this actually looks like it might be pretty good, because I do like how it's got the level of familiarity, with Ralph Macchio, and obviously some ties to Mr. Miyagi. So, it can't be any worse than some of the things that we've seen. I think it'll be probably like a solid B- to a B movie.
Okay. All right. Rob, what do you think? You think this is going to do well and you're going to go see it?
Well, 2 things. I don't know how well this is going to do because from my understanding, this movie has no ties with Cobra Kai. So
okay.
I'm not sure if that's alienating, a fan base there. I mean, again, that's what I've read. Once I sit my butt in the seats and see if there's any ties with that, it would be nice. But when I read that, I was just like, okay, so you're really basing this off the nostalgic part of this, seeing now Sensei Russo, which I thought that was a pretty cool thing, showing the evolution of Ralph Macchio's character, where he is now. He's a karate master. I actually liked the remake more than I thought I would, with Jackie Chan, because they introduced, it was kung fu, but it's just that he had more of like that spiritual sense that's like, with coming from a different angle, and just having both of them now as like the masters, bringing in the new Karate Kid. There was something really cool about that. At today's point, the action I thought was like surprisingly like, whoa,
Yeah.
seeing Rob Macchio like, just, throw some punches, haymakers here and there. Oh, go on, kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, to be honest, again, it's you're really riding on the name, and you're really by bringing in Jackie Chan, you're hopeful that there was some kind of like following with that movie. You're bringing in Ralph Macchio, so hopefully you bring some of the Cobra Kai fans into it without pissing them off. I hope it does well because I think it's actually probably gonna be a sneaky good movie, to be quite honest.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It actually drops in like 3 weeks, and I'm surprised it hasn't been, more, publicity around it. But we'll see. Guys, like and subscribe, and also tell us what you think. Are you guys interested in seeing this or not? But also now we're going to talk about Black Panther. Marvel has announced that they are going to. Oh, wrong one. Hold on, wrong one. That was Black Panther. Here we go. Black Panther. So Black Panther, Marvel is going to have T'Challa's son officially take over that role. They said, when Chadwick died, I would thought that they should have just recast T'Challa. That was my first thing. I said, you know what? Pay respects, because I think when these characters die, you got to sort of, they recast Don Cheadle with remember Terrence Howard was recast as War Machine. So I think they should just recast. You can't just someone dies and then not bring the character back at all or have something else. Dave, what do you think about them and with T'Challa's son? Is Marvel making a good decision, or should they just recast the whole person just all in once?
If they had had taken advantage of that before Black Panther 2, it'd be a whole different story. But they're kind of handcuffed into doing that at this point, and I think it's fine. If they had a it was just so sudden. It's not like anyone knew he was sick. If there had been any notion that he wasn't going to be around for much longer, there's a good chance they may have started to look for someone to recast. But the way it happened, I think this is the most respectful way to do it, and I'm actually okay. I'm okay with it, and I'm mostly just okay with it because that's just how Black Panther 2 laid it out for us. There's nothing really that they did it, and this is where we are. So just make it a good casting and make sure the writing is good. Because I don't think Wakanda Forever was fine, and that's it.
Yeah, I didn't really like Wakanda Forever. I'm not really a fan of it, but Rob, what do you think about this casting that they're going to do with the son?
I think it's the right move for several reasons. So just a quick thing with Wakanda Forever. I get why. Because for two reasons. One is, Ryan Coogler. I think he needed to make that movie the way it was. That was his way of paying respect to Chadwick. Just to leave to show what was left behind. And it's a story there. I mean, it's that movie. I find that it's polarizing in a lot of ways. And it's, to be honest, it's an uncomfortable movie. To be quite honest, there's a lot of pain.
It's so sad.
It's a lot of pain in that movie, and it shows. And for that reason, that's the reason why I conclude this is the best way to do it, because Shuri, that character's arc is done. She lost everything. She came back. She redeemed herself enough to take on the mantle. But even I would guess if that character could speak, it would say like, no, this is not for me. I don't want to be the Black Panther. I'm a science geek. I want to be in the lab. I want to be able to like do things with the skills that I naturally have. So it's not the role that fits. She did it because out of necessity. Again, it feeds into like the uncomfortability of that movie. By bringing in his son, this is the true legacy crossover. This is what the true continuation. This is where Chadwick's legacy was always going to end up. The way it played out. It had to be the introduction of his son and the introduction of a Black Panther. That's like, okay, now you have a dynamic. A son that has to live up, fill in the shoes of his great father. That's a story worth telling, and that's the way it just naturally happened. I think it's the right thing to do. So as long as they don't give me a variant of this character, like do it right. Make sure that it's the same kid. I mean, I don't know how much time has to pass, but it should be that kid going in to be a young Black Panther.
Yep. Dave, did you like Shuri? playing Black Panther?
I think Rob made a great point. It served the story. She did it out of necessity, but that's not where she wants to be.
Mhm.
And I think if you try to like just shoehorn her into that,
Mhm.
I think from a narrative, it's just not going to work. Like I just don't buy she flips from the sister that she was to T'Challa to just being like, yeah, now I'm this person. I just don't think it works.
Yeah, I didn't think it worked either. I wasn't too much of a big fan of it anyway, but we'll wait and see what happens, what they do and how they do with the casting. Another movie that actually trailer that dropped, which was really cool, actually, was the Predator Badlands. I saw that drop and I was surprised because I wasn't expecting it for some reason. Like I knew they were doing a Predator movie, they were going to do one, but this seems like the first time the Predator is a protagonist in this movie, I guess. And people are kind of complaining online that he doesn't look like a Predator with his dreads. I think this is like a younger version of Predator, not the adult version. Rob, what did you think of this trailer?
Predator Badlands, a Star Wars story. I'm digging it. So it's it. The thing I was just thinking about this when I was watching this trailer. I'm like, what's different about this, and what I like to see, because the Predator being the protagonist, that really shows me. This is going to show me like, okay, yeah, we know how deadly these predators are, but up to this point, they've been getting, capped off here and there by humans, and Native Americans at that. So they have limitations. So okay, fine. Instead of like making a joke about it or anything like that, why don't you show those limitations in a world that is just as dangerous as they are? That their technology is not going to save them. I was digging it. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Put the predators in this world. They're still hunters. I mean, I can't even say that they're good guys, but it's they're going to be the central characters in this story. So yeah, let them be the ones that on their heels when what they're trying to hunt and kill is almost too much, and making it a young predator at that. I dug it. I was digging it. So I think there's an android in this thing too, which I'm not sure how that plays out. So I'm curious to know more about where this Badlands are. What world is this? That's what's captivating me about this movie.
They even had an older Predator who had like gray dreadlocks in their show for a second, which I thought was pretty cool. Dave, what do you think about the trailer? Are you excited about it?
Yeah. So you mean to tell me that something shown on the internet made some people complain?
Big news.
Oh my goodness. I mean, listen, we've had Predator, the Aliens and Predator movies have always been a mixed bag. Predator is a classic. Predator 2 is okay, it's pretty good when you look back at it. And then we got Predators was really good. I think that where's that sequel? I'd like to see that sequel.
That was pretty cool.
The Predator was straight garbage.
Yeah.
I think Prey was really good. I love Prey, yeah. And I think that deserved a theatrical release. I like to see them doing something different. Like show us this world. Like it's different. It's different in so much that Alien Romulus was like the Alien's greatest hits, but it still worked. I don't know if a Predator movie could get away with that. So just show us something different. And I think it looks cool. I'm fine that the Predator doesn't look exactly the same because we've seen it. We've seen it. Like, let's see whatever this young teenager or whatever it is might be. I am curious though, because is there any crossover? Because Rob said there's an android. Is this some kind of android like we're going to see like we got with Ash? Like, is it the same type of thing?
I was thinking exactly that, and I didn't want to go down too much that rabbit hole. But if that is an android, how far are we from another Aliens versus Predator movie?
Because there's a scene where we see her eyes, and I heard someone say I didn't get to look at it. That her eyes, you can see a Wayland Yutani logo in there.
Really?
Oh wow, that's next level.
Pick up a better screen grab of it or something. But that's what I heard.
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I love the Predator. The Prey was really good. I think they did that movie perfectly, and it didn't get I think it debuted on Hulu. I think that's what it was. And
exactly.
It did a great job. I mean, it broke a lot of numbers. It was like #1 for a long time. Great movie. So I'm looking forward to it. So we'll wait and see when that debuts in theaters.
I watched Prey in the dubbed version and the Comanche version, and I thought it was actually better in the Comanche version with the subtitles because you got a better sense of what like the inflections in their voice.
Oh,
But
wow.
like if I can sit and watch a movie in another language like Comanche and be like, this is still great. It was a good movie.
Okay, cool, man. Well, we'll wait and see. Another trailer that dropped, which was actually pretty cool because I actually was on the phone with actually someone who's in this movie. Well, he's not in it, but his character is, and that is we got the Smashing Machine trailer with The Rock. And let me tell you something, The Rock, I mean, it didn't even look like The Rock, the makeup and all the stuff that they did to him. And he really is looking to try and swing it with Emily Blunt in there, looking to swing for that Oscar, I think, with this movie. The trailer looked really good. He actually even spoke like Mark Kerr, the way he did that. And he did say he took voice lessons to try and speak like him. But that trailer, it seemed really interesting. Looks like it's trying to go to swing a little Oscar for The Rock if he wants to. But Rob, what did you think of that trailer?
So, first of all, I thought the trailer was it's awesome. I mean, look, it's A24. You know, I'm in a bag with them. You know, they know how to like really sell their movies, and this one was no different. This story. I mean, when I saw this trailer, I had to go do my research. Because admittedly, I'm not the biggest UFC fan. But I did follow the early beginnings of it, with Royce Gracie, those things, those kind of fighters. There was really like mixed martial arts. But when I was looking into Mark Kerr's story, so the thing that I'm excited to see, which I think is a big difference because I think a lot of people might, make a relation to this movie to the Iron Claw. This is a movie that it's a rise and fall of a character, but it's not. It is there's tragedy, but there's hope in there. And the more I learned about Mark Kerr, it just spoke to the kind of man he was. This is a movie, this is a storyline that you may sound familiar, that a lot of people just know they feel like they know it's going to end. It's going to end really bummer type of note. And that's not the case exactly with this story. And I think because, that goes to the point about The Rock, really becoming Mark Kerr in the way he speaks and whatever have you, that voice is a big clue into what this guy really is, who he really is, and how he speaks to people. And I'm glad they did that in the trailer because for me, it's a sneak peek into this is the type of person that, was put in this situation. And he's going to be a guy that, at the end of the day, you're going to root for.
Exactly. Dave, what did you think of that trailer?
I thought the trailer was pretty good. I already have a soft spot for this movie because my client James Mutasari actually trained The Rock to get him ready for some of the fighting because James is retired UFC. So back in almost a year ago, I guess he posted. The Rock posted pictures of him getting ready, and James was there in the ring, kind of bring him through the UFC paces. So I will see it on that alone. But I do like to see that The Rock's not giving us the same old.
He is. He's mixing it up.
So like A24, as Rob said, they do great stuff. It is a $7 production, so it might have a certain flavor to it, which I guess is fine. Emily Blunt is legit. So and it looks like the Rock really put on a good performance. So they tell the story properly, and we buy the performances. This could be pretty good. This could be something very different for The Rock because he's been quiet for a little while. Like if you really look back at the last 3 to 4 years, he's had a movie out like every other weekend. It feels like, and some are they're like whatever. And I think he really needs to. I think he needs something good to kind of put himself back at the top.
Are you guys Rock fans by any chance? You guys like The Rock? Just playing,
like
Rock.
The Rock that you like The Rock.
I love The Rock. I'm a big Rock fan. You know that. I'm a wrestling fan.
I remember the Jabroni days.
Those are good days.
I mean, his acting wise too. Do you dig him? I mean, Black Adam was sort of a really big miss for me, but I do like him as an actor.
He's got good stuff, and he seems to know what the audience. He seems to know what his fans want and tends to deliver. But sometimes when things are just crammed too close together,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, yeah, I got more of the same.
Mm-hmm.
So not everyone can get away with that. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't mind taking swings that don't really land as long as it's a good swing.
Yeah.
But I feel like he kind of played it safe for
Mhm.
a couple of movies.
Yeah, I agree. If you, to answer your question, am I a rock fan? I'm gonna have to say yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna be, beating the drum, like, oh, Rock is in this movie, so I'm definitely gonna see it. That's not the case. But when I look back at his career, and more times than not, he delivered something that was really entertaining for me. Um, I do agree that it's been a minute since he actually really acted, because
Mhm.
it seems like there was like, 2 or 3 movies in a row where it's just like, okay, it's just Dwayne Johnson doing Dwayne
Mhm.
Johnson stuff. But I know that this is not the first time that he's tried something different. I think it's the first time where it feels like he's really committed to a role to really become something completely different. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen and read about Mark Kerr is like a gentle giant, which is a
Yes.
complete opposite
Uh-huh.
of The Rock and his persona, his public persona. So if he could pull that kind of personality off, kudos
Mhm.
to him. And if awards come along with that, good. That means he actually busted his ass and really got the job done.
Yep. Mark Kerr is a really sensitive person. My brother kind of knows people through him that he's a really sensitive guy, and he's a big fighter and he's, was really tough, but he's has a really big sensitive side to him. I was going to ask you guys too, what was The Rock's last big movie that he had out? Because he had Black Adam, which didn't do well. And obviously he has the kids movie, Momoa. He had that, Momoa, whatever it was.
Moana.
Moana, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know the cartoon one stuff. But is there anything else he had big that came out recently? I don't remember.
Red One.
That's right, Red One, and that didn't do too well. It looked good, had a good premise, but it didn't do well.
Yeah, no, I
There were
didn't do it.
things in
I
that
actually watched
movie.
that movie.
I I There are things I really liked in that movie, and when we got to see the Headless Horseman, I was like, this scene is way more interesting than it needs to be for this movie. But like, let's see more of this world that they created. Like, they started to take a swing, and then they kind of went into the same old formula. It was entertaining. It was a nice, holiday watch. But if you really think about it, if you ask someone what they think of The Rock in terms of like a box office draw, they'll be like, oh, everything he makes is a smash, like is a hit. But if you were to go look at the box office numbers on most of the stuff that's come out, I'm sure it's done well, but
Mhm.
nothing's hitting like end game numbers. So I think he
No,
knows how to market his stuff really well, and his team works really, really hard and works really well for him. But yeah, I don't know the last time he had like a
no.
smash bang hit outside of the Fast and Furious franchise.
Furious stuff, yeah. And
Exactly. Yeah.
I hear he's coming back for that too. That's what I hear for the last one. I think he's coming back, but who
Yeah.
knows?
Well,
But
so is
we'll see.
so is Paul Walker.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see what happens with that. All right, guys. Now, like I said, I've been getting some emails actually, and I'm starting to answer some email questions that I've been getting. And we had a couple questions that came in, and I thought I'd just put them up for us because some people asked us. And so here's the first question that actually came in. James E. from Wayne, New Jersey, and he said, "Hi, Joe, Dave, and Rob. Love the content. Quick question: what is your favorite movie? Not Marvel, DC, or Star Wars?"
Oh,
All right. Okay. So for me, I'm just gonna go one of my favorite movies, Shawshank Redemption. That's actually one of my favorites. Dave, maybe you want to answer that question from James?
I think mine is actually Ghostbusters.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, I can see that.
I've always been a huge Ghostbuster fan. You remember you and I
I
went
know.
to
We went to Chiller together,
Chiller
dressed as
Theater with I
Ghostbusters.
still have the pictures that
Yeah,
we'll have to put
I
up
do
here.
too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The first one is classic,
Mm-hmm.
and I
I
like
like the second one too.
yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. Even the lady reboot is fine. It's just a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can settle down. It's fine. Um, and the last two, I think I like where they're trying to go. But yeah, I just remember watching it growing up. I remember a lot
Mm-hmm.
of it was kind of like a thing. It was like a phenomenon when it first
Oh
came out.
yeah, who are you gonna call? The
And
shirts. Yeah.
we had the cartoon, the real
That
Ghostbusters.
real Ghostbusters cartoon.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that movie always holds a very special place in my heart for some reason. So that might be like my favorite.
Okay, Rob, what is your favorite movie?
This one's easy. My favorite movie of all time is Back to the Future.
Oh, that's excellent.
I mean, that's one of those movies where, I mean, one of the criteria for me to have a favorite of anything is for me it's rewatchability. I mean, I could watch that movie any time, and, you know, and several viewings. For me, it just never gets old. That movie, you know, was in 1985. You know, you know, I'm at a certain age where it's like that's probably one of the first few movies I actually started, you know, to go see in the theaters. And just when that DeLorean unloads from the back of that truck, I'm like, this movie's awesome. I want to get into that in that car right now. Yeah, bring Einstein on with me. Let's go. You know, forget these guys. But yeah, I love that movie. It's for me, it's the entire trilogy is always enjoyable, but the first one, that's like it's like your first love. You know, that's my first movie that I actually fell in love with.
Yeah, it's funny because whenever like my girl asks me about her car or something's wrong with it, I always say it's got to be the flux capacitor. I said,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always.
Because I don't know shit about cars. You know, so that's why. Well, James, thank you so much for asking us that questions. We got another question here from Roger T from Reading, PA, and he says, "Do you guys think Thunderbolts will beat Cap for overall box office?" Roger, I think it will. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, because it's absolutely crushing like the pre-screening numbers in terms of like Rotten Tomatoes is 95%. Like I'm excited for this. Like I'm legit. I knew I was gonna go see Cap. And I'm like, it'll be entertaining. I like Anthony Mackie. Is it gonna be good? I don't know, but I'm gonna go see it. I'm excited to go see this. And I think it will beat Cap. I don't think it'll beat Cap handedly, but I think it may get to those numbers quicker and then just kind of hang.
Okay. All right. Rob, what do you think about Roger's question?
Yeah, I think Dave is probably closer to what it's probably going to end up being. You know, because it's just, you know, the way, you know, Marvel has been performing at the box office. That sounds about right. I think it will beat it. Probably not by much, but I leave a caveat. There is opportunity. There's a chance here that it'll exceed expectations because the biggest difference I'm seeing here with Thunderbolts, you know, with the reviews and all that stuff that's coming out, is that there is zero negativity associated with the movie coming on. Cap, you heard reshoots, you had like adjustments to the script, you had these things where just for every good thing that you heard about Cap, there was something else happening that may have been termed negative. So, you know, there was like this sense of like, you know, we hope it does well, but we're expecting this thing not to be great. That's not the case with Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts across the board. These are characters that, you know what, they're not top tier, you know, Marvel characters, but they're all played by somebody that's very charismatic and that we could end up falling in love with, which is what, you know, worked with Phase 1 through 3. We had characters that, you know, we just fell in love with. Thunderbolts has the opportunity to do that.
Yep, I think so. I think it's definitely going to beat, you know, Cap by a lot. I think it's going to do really well, especially with all the reviews. So James and Roger, thank you for those emails. Keep the emails coming. I'm going to put my email in the description, joseph.yanks@gmail.com. I'll try to get to more emails as they start coming in. I know I got about 10, but with the show timing, I can only do a certain amount of them. The next one we're going to do, guys, is going to do our favorite little episode here is name that movie. All right. So name the movie. And again, it's pretty simple. I'm going to show you a cast of characters today, what they look, and you're going to name the movie they did 20 years ago. Okay. I'm going to start with you, Dave. All right. You're going to see what you got. So this movie came out in 1982. Okay. And when you see the cast, you're probably going to recognize them, but this movie was one of the highest grossing movies of that year. I think it was my first movie I cried in. Here is the cast.
Oh
yeah.
Dave, do you got it?
E.T.
E.T. is correct. E.T. is 100% correct. Very easy though, Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, so lucky.
All right, Rob, you got one. Now, this came out in 1992. Okay. And this was an independent film at first, The director, though, he shot to stardom after this this movie came out in independent. And you're gonna, as soon as you see the director, you're probably gonna get the movie. It's pretty simple. But they came back and did a picture reunion recently. Here is the picture.
Oh my goodness! This
I know
is
it.
this.
I know it.
Wait! This is this Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs is correct. Very good. Yeah, so I was worried you weren't going to get that, but Reservoir
I'm
Dogs.
a movie guy. Why do I tighten up on these things? I don't get it.
Now, this last one, I'm going to throw it out to both of you guys because this one's going to be a little bit hard, okay? This came out in 1993, but the main character of this movie passed away. So the people in this picture were kids when this came out. So you're going to look at them and you might have a little hard time guessing them, but here is 1983. This was the movie that came out. Here are the guys. They came back together. Here they are.
Oh, I know.
You know, Dave?
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Yes, Mrs. Doubtfire. Very good,
That's
Dave.
good, Dave.
You know, a lot of people couldn't get that, believe it or not. Like, oh, okay, very good. Very good. All right. Well, guys, again, another great week. Thank you guys so much. I got to check my flux capacitor.
Always.
Fluxing. Guys, I will see you next week. All right, guys?
Yep.
Talk to you later, brother.
Yeah, boys.
Thanks for watching the Zapata Brand podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast and listen where all podcasts are available.